everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I thought we bring all the cozy vibes, grab your cup of teas, your coffees. I've got herbal tea at the minute because it is currently 20 to 8. So I've got my big comfy fleece on. I did grab my mini ears for the occasion and of course a cup of tea. But I thought today we could do a really chilled out things to know before booking Florida. As I'm sure I've made it very clear that I've been planning this trip for a very long time, and I feel like I had to do a lot of research when booking my perfect trip and just knowing like tips and tricks and ways to just get the most out of your holiday. It's going to be different for everyone, of course, but I just feel like I had to take chunks of information from lots of different people and lots of different places, and I thought what would be nice is to have one video which has everything you should consider before even booking. You know, this is when you're thinking about going and lots of different stuff like that. So I thought we could just literally have a little chilled one this weekend, and yeah, I really hope it helps because this is definitely something that I wish I had. So yeah, let's get right into it. I have made a list on my phone because I feel like there's quite a lot of things and I didn't want to miss anything out. I'm sure I would have if I didn't write it down. But let's find it. Okay, so the first thing that I did and me and Ryan considered was who was going. I feel like this is the most important because it really does kind of depend on the pace of your holiday. I know for a lot of people this is a once in a lifetime holiday and memories are the biggest takeaway from a holiday like this. So you want to go with as many people as possible. Before you do that, just really think and be a little bit selfish, honestly. I know that doesn't sound great, but being in a park, and especially in a very hot one if you're going in a summertime, emotions are heightened, you get tired, you all want to do very different things sometimes, and you just want to make sure that if you are going in a big group of people, which is absolutely fine and I would love to do that one day, that you're all just on the same page, as in some of you might break away and do one thing for one day and the others might do another thing, and that is totally okay because everyone has different expectations, everyone has a different pace, and just to ensure that everyone's on the same page is all I would suggest, because sometimes people go with an expectation of completing everything and sometimes people want to take things a little bit slower and enjoy it, and yeah, that is the biggest thing. So just make sure you consider how many people are going, for yourself and for them too, because you want to make sure they have a good time as well in the most magical place ever. Next up on my list, which is possibly one of the most important, is to decide what time of year to go based on the weather. Obviously Florida comes with extreme weather changes. You know, you've got the gorgeous summer sun, which in some ways is beautiful, but when you're outside standing in queues, it can get quite a lot. And then obviously towards the end of summer, autumn time, you've got hurricane season, which, you know, I've watched plenty of vlogs where that can really change up a holiday for some people and having to leave the state. And then you've also got Christmas time, which is lovely, but it can be a little bit cooler, but that might be better, especially if you've got children that can't deal with the heat as much. That might be better going the cooler seasons. And then obviously you've got like the rain, and obviously Florida is known for having these rainfalls that normally clear up pretty quickly, but I swear it was snowing in January this year. I don't think I've made that up, I swear I saw that. So just really think about what your expectations are. Like for me and my first like Florida holiday, I've always imagined it sunny, with the blue skies and everything like that, and of course that's not guaranteed every day, but I just wanted to make sure I went at a time of year where that is highly likely, as well as also not being in hurricane season. Like I really was toying, honestly, I was toying up with May or September, but after seeing the hurricanes last year, and I think it was in 2022, I could be wrong, I definitely, it put me off, honestly. Like it's quite a very scary situation. So that's just things you've got to think about. Just take the weather, which sounds silly because the weather shouldn't affect your holiday, but it really can, especially in Florida. Another thing to consider before booking is checking the park crowd levels. I actually had Adam, I have it still, I have Adam Hatton's guide to Walt Disney World, and this really helped me. It had like a chart where it showed you like average crowd levels for the year, average heat levels and everything like that, so I really recommend grabbing that book. I think he's actually bringing out an updated one, which I nearly ordered and I would have loved to order, but it's not actually coming out until after I'm back from my trip, so it didn't really make sense. Maybe I will after, just to, you know, collect them because I love it so much. It's just so easy. It's called the Dream Guide. I'll leave it here maybe and linked below as well, because I'd 100% recommend it. But I believe there is a website, I'll leave it linked, I cannot remember the name. Alex and Hannah were talking about it in their channel, but you can go and check the crowd levels, which again is a massive part of a Florida trip. You know, if you don't want to fork out on lightning lanes and everything like that, crowd levels do change the game. And yeah, you just want to make sure you're not going in peak seasons. I know for some people you can't help that, like teachers or if you've got children, but maybe going like right towards the end of summer might be better, or maybe just the beginning, I'm not too sure. Easter holidays might be less crowd levels, everything like that. So definitely do your research and just check what the crowd levels are, because you just want to try and avoid the busyness as much as possible. I know it's hard if you can't help it, but you just get way more out of your holiday when it's quieter, of course. And tying in with that, you want to check there are no national holidays. America have lots of national holidays like Labor Day, Thanksgiving, everything like that, that coming from us Brits we don't have. We obviously have bank holidays, but they have loads more. So even if your trip is running, I'm not saying like don't book a trip if it runs across a national holiday, because it'll probably be impossible. I reckon over a 2-week holiday one of the days will fall on a national holiday, to be honest. But maybe just avoid the parks that day if you don't want the crowds, and maybe go to the mall or go to a water park or anything like that. Just keep a note of it, and just, you know, if you've got a planner and you've got a checklist or anything like that for your trip, just keep note of it. And because you don't want to get to the parks and be like, why is it so busy today? And you know why, because it's an actual national holiday. Also, I don't know if I showed you this mug. Hold on, I like to focus on the mug. But this is the Starbucks Disneyland Paris mug. Oh my god, look at it. I love it so much. Another thing to think about before booking is to figure out what season you want to experience at Disney. Obviously Disney go all out for all the national holidays, and they decorate the parks and it just looks amazing. I want to experience all of them, but definitely think about what you want to experience. You know, they obviously have Christmas running from the 1st of November to New Year. I believe they decorate for spring, potentially Easter, and obviously Halloween and everything like that. So maybe you would prefer to go when the Halloween decorations are out, and then Christmas and spring, as I said. So just think about what you'd prefer. Obviously to some people it might not matter, but for me, I wanted to experience Disney at its like normal, I guess, form for the first time. I don't know why, just in my head that's just how I've imagined it. So May kind of worked out. I don't believe there's any decorations. If there is, like, it's absolutely fine, but I just didn't want to go like Christmassy or Halloween for the first trip. I just wanted it to be like the normal beautiful park that it is. So yeah, just think about that when you're booking, if you want to experience a certain season and a certain celebration. Oh, imagine how good the photos would be though at Halloween and Christmas, and like matching your outfits, and like the Halloween parties. This is another thing to consider. They obviously have like seasonal events. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, like that is a massive deal, and you get to dress up and it looks so fun. And then you've got Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party, do like a whole other firework display. So yeah, just think about that, because you might want to do one of them events. And if you don't want to do the events, I believe the parks actually shut quicker and earlier on in the day, so you could miss out on park time if you aren't fussed about doing them. So just think about avoiding that if you are. Next up on the list is the boring part, but it's to know your budget. It's very easy to create a holiday in your head, and you've paid the deposit and you're going to go to this park and do this and this lightning lane, and it very quickly adds up and it can kind of go beyond your budget. So before you even look into it, just jot some figures down, and just, you know, if you're going with multiple people, figure that out, figure out how you want to pay for things. And it's a bit awkward and it's not the most fun thing to talk about, it kind of takes away the magic, but it is an important one and it can decide how your holiday goes. You can obviously do Florida and Walt Disney World on any budget to a certain extent, so it doesn't really matter, but it just saves a lot of letdown and a lot of time wasting and a lot of just worry. Like, it can cause worries, and you don't want to go on your holiday thinking, oh my god, can I afford this dinner tonight? You know, America has lots of tips and Ubers cost money and it all very quickly adds up. So I'd say just come up with a rough idea of how much you want the holiday to come to, how much spending money you want to take, and figure them things out early, because then that's done and dusted, the boring bit's done then, and you can just enjoy your holiday. Okay, so now you've figured out your holiday, you've decided what time of year you're going, you've decided who's going, you know your budget and everything like that. Now it's time to book your holiday. So the first thing you want to do, and never ever forget to do this, is go incognito mode on your laptop or your phone or whatever you're using to look at the holidays. I remember when I was looking to book once and I was flipping between like TUI, Virgin, I was just going between sites, and honestly every time I like refreshed the page, the price of it was going up. So definitely go incognito mode just so that you're getting the absolute best rate possible. I'd 100% recommend to do that because it just saves you some pennies when you need to save them. And now that you've done that, you want to look for deals. I'd recommend following all of the like ticket package people on Instagram. I love attractiontickets.com. They always seem to have a deal. That's who I booked with and always have a deal, but I'm sure there's lots of others that do, as well as like not even just ticket packages but flights and your hotels and like travel agents. You never know. Like even I went to the mall the other day. I went to the mall? Who do I think I am? An American? I went to the shopping centre a few days ago and we walked past Virgin and they had like summer 2025 deals on. So just keep your eyes out for them because some of them are really good, and don't be afraid to like compare. And if you go into Virgin and be like, look, I've seen this on your website, like it's not matching what you're saying now, like they will listen to you. Like you're the customer at the end of the day, so don't be afraid to, you know, if you've seen something and it's not matching, just say something. But yeah, definitely do your research and don't book the first thing you see. Take some time. It might be over a few days, over a few weeks or months, as mine did, just to really figure out the best of one for you. And tying in with that, once you've found a good deal financially, you just want to make sure that it marries up with what you want to do. So for example, we found a slightly cheaper deal with TUI, but the flight times were not as great. You know, you left later, you got there later and you had to leave earlier. And actually we wanted to arrive with like a good amount of time on the first day to like, you know, do whatever we wanted to do, settle in, and also maximise our last day as well. So we decided to, I think it was only like £50 more, like it wasn't anything crazy, to fly with Virgin and get that extra little perk. And that will run across a lot of other stuff. It might be the time of year, it might be the flight, it might be your dining plan. Like if you're booking with Disney in itself, like definitely check out the deals because they have dining credit deals all the time. You know, you stay at this hotel and you get a free dining plan, and you just got to keep looking and just check it marries up with what's right for you. And sometimes even though it's a good deal, it might not marry up with what you want to do. For example, like let's say you want to go to stay at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, and it's giving a dining plan, a free dining plan for table service, that might not match your criteria of your trip. You know, I don't think we'll be doing many table service restaurants because I feel like we're going to want to try lots of stuff and it takes a lot of time and money, to be honest. So yeah, that's something that we weren't too bothered about, but if you are, then that's great. So just make sure that even though it's a good deal, that it actually is what you want to do. So yeah, I've just got it written down here, like look for deals in your packages for hotel and flights, different airlines, ticket offers and dining credits. The next thing to think about is figure out how you're going to travel around. Obviously, if you're staying on site and you're only planning to do Disney, this is kind of irrelevant because you've got the shuttle buses, you've got the Skyliner, you've got the boats, you've got lots of different options. But if you're staying off property or you're venturing out beyond the Disney parks, then you will have to think about this. So obviously you've got the option of Ubers, which is what we're going with. So we're just relying on Lyft, Uber, Bolt, all them bits and bobs, and we'll be using them the majority to go around. But most hotels, especially in the surrounding area, will have like a free shuttle. I believe the one we're staying at has like a free shuttle twice a day to like Disney or Universal or wherever. So that's really great. But I think for the majority of the time we'll be using Ubers, and then obviously within the parks we'll use like the Skyliner and the bus and everything like that. Your other option is obviously to hire a car, which I'd love to do one day because I feel like the freedom of it is so nice, and you know, not having to wait for a bus or a lift and having to pay for it, you know, that expense is kind of already paid for. but neither of us have experience driving in America, and although I think Ryan would absolutely be fine and probably love it, we just don't, I guess we just didn't want to have that worry or stress on the trip, like especially for the first one. Maybe after this we'll feel a bit more confident in doing it next time. But it also costs a lot of money, like for parking and insurance and petrol and gas and everything like that. So just think about that when you're thinking about how you're getting around. That also does depend on how many there are of you going. If there's like a big group of you, like will you be able to hire a car or a minivan or anything, or would you be better off sharing an Uber? Will it be cheaper that way? So definitely think about that as well. Another thing to think about, which I actually didn't do after all this blimmin' prep I did, I didn't actually check this, but is to check for any ride closures, and to check this across all of the parks you're doing. I still haven't done this, thinking about this now. I've checked Disney, and I think the only one that is shut that breaks my heart, like rip it out of my chest, is Big Thunder Mountain. Rip, it's closed for like the whole of 2025, but it's okay because I feel like no matter when you go, there's always one shut, and don't beat yourself up about it. Like, it just happens, and it just means you have to go back. But yeah, check for any ride closures. They normally show you like years in advance, honestly. And I need to still check for Universal and SeaWorld parks because I haven't. But I don't really know, I know Universal's, but SeaWorld's rides and everything, and Aquatica and Busch Gardens, I'm not too familiar with the rides. So honestly, it could tell me a ride shut and I wouldn't have a clue what it is. So we'll just roll with it, we'll just go with it. But yeah, I was very sad about Big Thunder Mountain, but hey ho, it's another reason to go. So yeah, just make sure you do your research and check if you've got like for me, if the Avatar ride was shut, I would book at another point, I think. Actually, would I? Probably not. I probably wouldn't want to delay this trip any further, but it would break my heart, you know. The final thing on my list, it actually goes back to the plane bit. I should have done it earlier, but it's okay. Is a little hack is to try and book your seat on the plane as far to the front as possible. Not only do you get on first, but you get your food first. And I know that sometimes they go from front to back, or they do like back front to the middle. You basically just don't want to be the last choice when picking your food. I know you normally like pre-book it, but sometimes they don't have everything left. And it's so annoying like watching everyone get served and you're like waiting, like it's right there and I can't grab it. So yeah, little hack. And it doesn't normally cost that much more. Like, you don't have to get like the front row, but just towards the front of the plane. Although sometimes that's reserved for like business class and premium economy. But basically, if you want to do just a normal classic economy, which we've done, try and book your seats as close to the front as possible. We've done that, so hopefully it works. I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, I think that is my whole list. I'm going to do another video soon, which is everything you need to know / do before going to Florida. Yeah, imagine you've done your looking, you've booked it, it's done and dusted. Now it's what you need to know before going on your trip. So that should be coming next week. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's really chill. I've really just enjoyed sitting in my pyjamas. I love this fleece, by the way. Got my candle on. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this? Quite pale, isn't it? With my Mickey ears on and just having a little chin wag. But I really hope it helps, and I will list everything in the description as well, just so you can like have a little checklist to check you've done it. I think that'd be a good idea. But I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.